Hello and welcome back to my channel. My name is Rachelle and this is the second video installment in my Camino prep series. I am currently prepping, planning, training for my pilgrimage along the Camino de Santiago, specifically the Camino Francés that I'll be traveling later this year in September and October. Really quickly, if you have not done so already, I encourage you to subscribe if you're interested in this type of content. I do plan on making hopefully weekly videos, and then once I'm on the Camino, doing daily vlogs of my experience. So again, if you like this video, give it a thumbs up, share it, and I hope you subscribe. Okay, I have tried to film this video like, I don't know, 5 times, but I talk too much. So I'm going to try to do this as succinctly as possible so that I can just get the information out there. And what I want to focus on today is basically planning and the resources that I have found extremely useful in my planning for my trip. If you see me look down, it's because I have my notebook here with my notes, and despite the fact that I have notes, I continue to ramble. I'm going to break this up into a few sections. The first one is just going to be like one-offs and online resources. Second is going to like delve into the YouTube world where I'm addicted to vlogs, and I'll share and give shout outs to my favorite vlogs. And then lastly, I want to touch on preparation for a spiritual or religious pilgrimage. Okay, jumping right in, really no real particular order, but I'm just going to touch on the websites that I find useful for logistics first. So the first one being Rome to Rio. Rome to Rio is a fantastic website where you can get ideas for options on how to travel from point A to point B. So say you're traveling from Madrid to Saint-Jean-Pied-de-Port. How do you get from here to here? And Rome to Rio is fantastic because it gives you various options. It tells you one option is you can take a plane from point A to from here to here, and then you get off that plane, then you take a train, and then take the train to the bus, and then you'll eventually get to Saint-Jean-Pied-de-Port. And then it'll give you various other options. So maybe there's a different combo, like a plane, 2 buses, and then you walk for a bit or something. But it is really great because it does give you the options. It also gives you the travel time between 2 points along, on one mode of transportation. So it gives you kind of an idea of how long it's going to take you if you choose that particular route. Another thing that it gives you is the cost involved. So it'll tell you how much that plane ticket is going to cost, how much that bus is going to cost, etc. So Rome to Rio, check it out. Plug in your cities, see what options you have. And I believe there is also another option to purchase tickets through there and fare through Rome to Rio, perhaps a third-party site or something. I haven't done that myself, so I'm not endorsing that in any way, but just saying that you should definitely do your research for the best price and what's going to work for you. So do your research first, and then book your tickets in whatever way is best for you. Second website is called, I believe it's like W Underground. It's Weather Underground, but it's spelled like Wunderground or something like that. W Underground. I'm going to call it W Underground. It's a great website because it gives you the opportunity to check out what the historical data has been with regards to weather in a particular region, city, etc. So for instance, my particular trip, say I'm going to be close to Santiago like in October. I should hopefully reach Santiago at the end of October. I can plug in Santiago, and I can plug in like October 13th, 2011, and it will give me the info. What was the average temperature? What was the precipitation? What was the wind? And you'll see the trend, and it's very fascinating. You can kind of gather what it's like from year to year to year to kind of see what the average is. By no means is this perfect, because we all know that weather is variable and it just is never the same. There could be a heat wave one year, there could be storms another year. So, but it might give you a really good idea of the time of year you might want to travel if you're trying to avoid rain or something like that. Or it might help you decide whether you should take that sleeping bag, or maybe that sleeping bag liner is going to be sufficient for you. Next, I'm going to touch on a couple blogs. Unfortunately, in my earlier research, as I was searching blogs and things like that, I didn't write the information down, so I don't have that. I don't have those blogs, but there are a ton of them out there. People have taken so much time to document their journey and their experience on the Camino, so I encourage you to just do a Google search for Camino de Santiago blog or something like that. Two of them I wanted to sort of shout out. The first one is Clear Skies Camino. He also has a great resource page, so I'm going to link that below. Anything that there's something to link to, I'll link down below. There's a resource page on his blog, and you can kind of go from there if you choose to go ahead and explore the rest of his site. The other one that I wanted to mention is Somewhere Slowly. Again, I just really love reading people's narratives and the different writing styles. Also just, checking out their photos that they've posted along their particular Caminos. And so blogs are definitely the way to go. It's a really great resource. You could just make sure you bookmark them so you can always go back to them. But check out these blogs in particular. So if you are worried about not being able to speak Spanish, if you're not familiar with the language, Duolingo is a great little free app that you can download on your phone, and it gives you the basic knowledge of Spanish. There are different levels. They do it where there's a leaderboard, so it makes it really competitive. There are games that you can do. It even has a voice activated thing where you can speak into your phone's mic, and it assesses the way you pronounce the word.
Yo necesito un teléfono.
Mi taxi.
El pasaporte.
And so it's really good actually for a free app. I have found it very useful. I have very basic high school Spanish knowledge. Definitely I'm not fluent by any stretch of the imagination, and I find Duolingo to be a lot of a fun way to learn the language. And I always encourage you to, if you're traveling to a foreign country that speaks a different language, to go ahead and learn their language, or at least the basics of it, and give it a try. It's really fun. You just never know. On to message boards and forums. Facebook is the main one where I have joined a couple groups, and they're very active groups, so I highly recommend the American Pilgrims on the Camino. Within that larger organization, there are sort of smaller Facebook groups that are associated with local chapters, and I would suggest that you join some of those as well, because when you join a local chapter group, they, at least the one that I'm in, they host training hikes, Q&As, potlucks, and shell ceremonies, just all kinds of fun stuff where you can meet pilgrims that live in your vicinity, your local vicinity, who have either done the Camino before or who are planning on doing the Camino. It is a great way to meet people and sort of get that sort of Camino family experience even before you step foot on the Camino itself. The second group I wanted to mention is called Camino de Santiago, and then it's sort of followed by the year. So based on whatever year it is, I think it changes every year. And this is, again, a very active group. Lots of questions. People post photographs. It's a very fun, useful, motivating, informative group. Everybody's really supportive, and people are happy to answer your questions, give you advice and suggestions. So I would highly recommend these two groups, the APOC group and then the Camino de Santiago group, when you are planning for your Camino. One last forum that I wanted to mention, it is a big one. It's the Camino de Santiago forum. It's caminodesantiago.me, and this is the one where it's got all the Caminos. So all the Camino routes. It has different pilgrimages even outside of the Camino de Santiago. So if you're traveling on different routes, you're going to find sub forums within the big one. If you're traveling the Camino del Norte or the Via de la Plata or the Portuguese or something like that, any of those additional routes, they're going to have sub forums, and you can find people who are having the same questions as you, or you're going to find veteran pilgrims who have traveled those particular routes, and they'll give you some insight into your questions. And one last fun one that I just had to mention because I love the platform so much. Instagram. Instagram is great because if you are a fan of visuals and watching like little video snippets, getting sort of a real feel for what the Camino is like, there are many people who post photographs from the Camino as they're traveling at that particular time. Like, what are the current conditions? Is it raining? If you're planning on traveling and you're leaving in a week, like what has the weather been like? What are kinds of things are people wearing and bringing? It's great. It also affords you an opportunity to sort of like enhance your imagination, your creativity, and like places that you want to photograph. People will post photos of albergues and bars and cafes, and you think like, oh my gosh, I want to try that place. That food looks amazing. Make a note of that. You can bookmark that particular photo and take it with you, and then hopefully maybe you'll stop by. If you walk by the place, you'll think like, oh gosh, that's that place that had that amazing, I don't know, cafe con leche or something, tortilla. Not only can you follow people in their specific accounts, you can also follow hashtags. Now, hashtags are great because if you follow a particular hashtag, all of the most recently uploaded photos that are tagged with that particular hashtag will show up in your feed. One that I follow and that you should follow, obviously, is the hashtag Camino de Santiago. That's an obvious one. Another obvious one is hashtag Camino Frances if you're traveling the Camino Frances. But I do have another quick tip on hashtags on Instagram. If you want the best bang for your buck when it comes to photos that you're going to get and videos that you're going to get on Instagram, follow hashtags that are in, say, another language referring to the Camino de Santiago, or a phrase associated with the Camino. So, for instance, hashtag the Way of St. James. People refer to the Camino as the Way of St. James. Also as hashtag Jakobsweg. So in German, if you want to find photos from the Camino of people that refer to the Camino as Jakobsweg, you could go ahead and follow that hashtag. Hashtag Buen Camino. That is like the phrase, right, on the Camino is Buen Camino. So follow that hashtag. People will tag their photos and videos with that particular hashtag, and they will show up in your feed. Another one, hashtag Ultrea. You get the idea. So try to think outside of the box when it comes to hashtags. Don't just think of the obvious ones, because you'll get a lot more results if you kind of think of other hashtags that people might be using as well. So Instagram, give it a try. It's really a lot of fun, and I'll put all my links down below because I do have an Instagram, and I hope to post as I walk my Camino in September and October. Okay, I think I'm doing better on time, but it's still quite long. I'm going to delve into my favorite part, YouTube. So I have a bunch of favorite YouTube playlists and vloggers that I have been addicted to watching. I've watched their Camino vlogs like repeatedly. So the first few that I'm going to mention are really cinematic in their storytelling. The first one is Efrain Gonzalez. The channel is Efrain, and he is, I believe he's a filmmaker and photographer or something like that, but he's done a lot of different Caminos and different pilgrimages. And he's funny. The imagery is spectacular. He uses drone footage, so you get these really expansive views of like ruins and castles and geometric fields and bridges, and just, it's gorgeous. And like I said, he's funny, so it makes it really interesting. Very funny guy. Highly recommend Efren. Next one is the channel by Lex Els. He's a younger guy, again, very cinematic in his storytelling. He's funny. I am drawn towards people that have a sense of humor, so he's fun to watch. And again, drone footage, so you get all of that, but like in a little bit of a different style than the first channel I mentioned. Next one is World Towning. Now, World Towning is a little bit different because they are a family of 4. It's mom and dad and their 2 kids, and their kids are like, I think the daughter's like 14 or 15, and then the son is like a few years younger than that. So it gives a really interesting point of view from a family. Families do travel the Camino. It's not just for adults. There are people that travel with their babies and strollers and things like that. But this is a fun group. They're actually sort of like nomads, and they live in an RV, but they actually walked this entire Camino with their family, and it's really interesting to see how they react to the experience, especially from the point of view of the kids. Next one is a really fun one. It's two guys. I think their names are Steve and Cody. It's Runaway Renegade, and these two guys, young guys, they're funny, sort of off the cuff, just sort of like your standard vlogging on a camera or phone. Just real, funny guys. I really enjoy them. I was super sad when they actually got to Santiago, because I was like, oh, and I feel so invested in these vlogs, you know, when you watch from day one, and then they get to Santiago and you just like celebrate with them, and then it's like, oh, now what? It's done. I can only imagine what the real Camino is going to be like, but check out Runaway Renegade if you want something fun to watch. The next few ones I'm going to mention are more introspective and reflective, I guess, in nature. I really enjoyed Alaskan Pilgrim, her channel. Her name is Jeannie. She's an artist, and so I really appreciate the way she sees things on the Camino. Like, I don't know how to describe it, but she's very soft-spoken, but she has this very like positive way of looking at things, despite the fact that the Camino is hard, and all of these people that I've mentioned, you know, a lot of them do show raw emotion, and especially these three that I'm talking about now, real emotion, tears, because it's hard. And I appreciate that, because everybody talks about how amazing the Camino is. I haven't done it, but I can only imagine walking day after day and what the real struggles are. So I appreciate Alaskan Pilgrim and her journey. Another one is Angela Morelli Carpenter. Again, introspective. She is a very spiritual person, so she delves into that spiritual journey throughout her Camino. So check her out. And then most recently, I've enjoyed Samantha Plavins. She's kind of like a really good mix between the two. She has a funny sense of humor, and but yet she again shows that raw emotion and is being real with you, and I so appreciate that. That's really important when it comes to YouTube, and when you're documenting something. I think it's important to be yourself and really show. And it's not easy. Obviously, you don't have to show everything, but it says something if you're able to do that and you're willing to share that with the world. So those are my favorite vlogs right now, and another quick tip on searching YouTube for related videos. I like to do a search for, say, like the phrase Camino de Santiago, and then what I do, and this is the tip, is to filter by the upload date. So the reason I do that is because a lot of these channels that are posting vlogs and, you know, little snippets of the Camino, a lot of them are really small channels, like my channel. You know, they don't have either a lot of subscribers or they don't have a lot of views on their videos, so they're not going to pop up at the very top of the results page. So if you filter by the upload date, you're going to get the ones that have been posted most recently, and then those will give those smaller channels a chance to like highlight what they've posted for all the world to see. So those were the vlogs. Down below, I'm going to list some links of either films or documentaries that I've found really useful as well. I don't think I need to speak to them necessarily, so I'm going to list those down below in case you're curious and want to find some of that documentary and film footage. The last thing I wanted to talk about, aside from the spiritual preparation, are some books, so things in print. The two books that I've been working with, and I mentioned this in my last video, are these two: the Camino de Santiago by Village to Village, the Village to Village Guide, and this is the John Brierley Camino de Santiago Camino Frances edition. These two are really great. So I started getting into this one because it was like the guidebook, right? It's got routes. It shows you the different, so you see like the green and then the orange, so it gives you alternate routes depending on, you know, if you want to take the more scenic route, if you want to take the main route. Gives you a snapshot of the distances between, and then also within each of the cities it tells you the different places you can eat and the different places you can stay for lodging. This book is really great, really comprehensive. I like it. And then this one, I didn't actually use this one a whole lot at first, despite the fact that I bought this one first. But now coming back to it, I'm really appreciating, I feel like it's a lot easier for me to read. It's hard to explain, and to each his own, obviously. But say for instance, this one here, this map, it actually has a little bit of topographic information. It's not perfect, but it does kind of show you the elevation within here in a topographic kind of way. It has the elevation from day, for each day. The Brierley has this as well. But then I do like the little snapshots for each day. It's very linear, and I'm kind of like a linear person, so I think that's why I'm enjoying this a lot more. And the lodging, all the albergues and hotels are listed in a linear sort of way, like listed. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the information from the Brierley and that I've highlighted and notes that I've written down, and I think I'm going to transfer this, and I think I'm going to take this on the Camino because I do plan on taking an actual physical book. I know a lot of people are like, oh, it's very heavy, blah, blah, blah. But I think I want to take this with me. So that's my plan. And then lastly, book-wise, I've started to read this, To the Field of Stars by Kevin A. Codd. It is a book by a Roman Catholic priest, and it's basically a narrative of his experience along the Camino de Santiago. I think it's really well written and insightful, and I'm enjoying it so far. Haven't gotten super far into it yet, but I'm enjoying it, and I can't wait to finish it. I got this used off of the internet somewhere. So those are the books. Lastly, and I think most importantly, if you are preparing for a spiritual or religious journey, a pilgrimage, is prayer. This preparation is essential to tell people what you're doing and ask them for prayers for you. Pray that your mind and your heart are open to what God has to say to you now, even before you leave, and especially while you're on the journey. But I think it's important to get sort of in that right frame of mind and just to have that still, quiet moment where you can really listen. And it's so hard to find those quiet times in our busy, crazy, distracted world. But I do think that's essential, especially if you want to make the spiritual, the religious journey. So that's it. That's my video. I'm sticking to it. I am going to be doing another one soon. I don't know exactly what it's going to be. I think it may be a training video. I do have a training hike planned. So, okay, with that, I want to say thank you so much for watching. I appreciate your time. I hope you come back. Please do like this video and share it if you think it would be useful to someone who is interested in the Camino de Santiago. And I will see you in my next video. Buen camino.